Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Wreck Wagers, and welcome to my series, Track Record. In this series, I break down all of my NFL bets that I made throughout the week on the Thursday, Sunday, and 1 o'clock games. I track all of them. I record how much I won or lost, and I provide some insights on my bets overall and what I was thinking. I post a video every week going over all my bets. If you haven't already, or if you're new to the channel, subscribe, like the video if you enjoy this content. If you haven't seen last week's video, week 4 of my series, check that out. Had my best week to date. Had some great picks, some great wins. So definitely check that out. Link in the top right. As for week 5, let's get into it. Week 5 kicked off with the Saints visiting the Falcons in Atlanta. This game was awesome. I almost saw the entire thing. I was traveling, unfortunately, for work. Caught about the 3/4 of the game before I passed out. But yeah, this game was awesome. Great to see. I was doing a lot of film study in the airport, and I probably saw about 3/4 of the Falcons Saints game before I made my bet on the under 43.5. I was convinced on the under only because short week. I thought the Falcons and Tampa Bay going to come out a little bit slow out of the gate. Not a lot of energy, I guess. Short week, not a lot of rest. I get it. It's only week 5, 5th game of the season. Thursday games are probably a lot for teams as the season goes on. Short week, not a lot of rest. Not a lot of game planning as much as a Sunday or a Monday game. Originally, I had the Falcons, but after seeing what Tampa Bay did to the Eagles and at home, I thought that betting the Falcons would be might be questionable, but the under was definitely more questionable looking at the result of this game. 36-30 after overtime. Falcons win. Unfortunately, was on the wrong side of this pick. I got a boost for, I think, one of my bets. So that's why it's divided between zero point 0.4 and 0.6 units. Also sized up a little bit on these bets this week, as there are 4 teams that are on bye weeks. So looking to get the same amount of profit. So I'm just sizing up on a couple of these bets. So I did about, you'll see in the Sunday games, but I did about a unit and a half on most of these games. Not the Thursday games, obviously. Was kind of cramped for time on putting this bet in. On the wrong side of it, starting off the week 0-2, and let's move into the 9:30 game overseas in London and the rest of the 1 o'clock games. 9:30 start on the Sunday games overseas. This Vikings team is good. This Vikings defense is good with Brian Flores at the helm. They're limiting their mistakes on offense. This Jets team is in trouble. The good thing, the AFC East is kind of open now that the Dolphins lost Tua for some amount of time, and I still think the Bills are a little overhyped. Granted, Josh Allen can do a lot of great things, and the Patriots are now playing Drake May, so who knows? Wide open division with in the AFC East. Nonetheless, lost the Jets Vikings bet. Bet the Jets before the game and during the game. I think once they got an interception, there was some good odds, plus 180. Was thinking, good time to get in. Made a small .4 unit bet on top of my other wagers during that game before the game started, and continue the losing streak into this week of week 5, 0-5. However, my luck turned around for the 1 o'clock game, the start of the 1 o'clock games, I should say. Panthers playing the Bears. Bears have a great home record. I thought the negative 2.5 spread was a home run, even though the odds on it were, were highly favored. I think the line opened up was around 3.5. Wanted to be a little safe, little safer on this bet, so I bet the 2.5. Also sizing up on these bets, as you can see, betting 1.5 units as opposed to 1 unit, and that's just to add some more value into my picks. Thought I had a good thing rolling last week, week 4, and next bet I placed was the Ravens money line. It's such an exciting game between those two teams in the AFC North. Lamar looked great. Bengals look great. Can score. Again, the Ravens were favored of this game, but felt very strongly about the Ravens money line after watching some film on them, and they just they're rolling right now. Ravens are rolling, so good win there. Miami at New England. I was rooting for the Patriots after the Dolphins losing Tua, playing Tyler Huntley. Still unsure of why the touchdown at the very end of that game did not count. Jacoby Brissett hooked up Jalen Polk in the end zone on I think it was 4th down. It may have been 3rd down. He got 2 feet in, but apparently you can get your foot in, and then if your heel comes down out of bounds, it's not a touchdown. But you can also drag your toes in the end zone, and that's a touchdown. So I feel like 2 feet is 2 feet. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I thought that was a great throw and catch, great execution by the Patriots. So also the Patriots were not favored this game, so this would have paid out nicely had those been Jalen Polk would have caught that differently. Nonetheless, lost that bet. Cleveland Browns and the Commanders. I don't know what's going on with the Browns this year. I thought that they had a little bit more fight in them, and because of that, I thought that if they were to compete against the Washington Commanders, that they would keep this game low scoring, wouldn't let them score 30-something points, wouldn't let them go on their scoring streak as they've been the past few games, and the Browns just couldn't stop them with their defense, and the Browns look frightening. So gonna keep an eye on them for next week, and they play. We'll get into next week's games later in this video. And just to wrap up the other 2 1 o'clock games, bet the Jaguars, also a favorite team. They beat the Colts with a game-winning kick, which is nice. And Texans money line, that was my bet. Texans were also slightly favored to win this game, and they ended up pulling through on their win against the Buffalo Bills. So overall, as far as the 1 o'clock games, I went 4 out of 6, not including the 9 o'clock game in London, and overall finish with a profit, or excuse me, I finished with a loss in the 1 o'clock and 9 o'clock games of negative 0.4. So definitely some ground to make up in these 4 o'clock games. During the 4 o'clock games, I ended up going 2 out of 5. My first bet on the Las Vegas Raiders and Broncos game, I had the Raiders plus 3.5 in Colorado against a Broncos team, which I am a little bit more convinced of that now than I was in previous weeks. I think they have a solid group of guys. I think the culture is there. I think Sean Payton's bringing a little bit of stability that wasn't there last season. I think the Raiders are still figuring themselves out, figuring out who their quarterback is. They are benching Gardner Minshew next week, playing Aiden O'Connell. Quarterback issues with the Raiders. Devontae Adams having questions of where he's going to play in the next couple weeks. Could be a more of a rebuild team this season. But nonetheless, thought the Raiders were going to keep this game a little close, play a little competitively. It wasn't the case, and the Raiders ended up losing this game 34-18. And yeah, not much to say about that. Just a bad bet on the Raiders plus 3.5. Just thinking they're going to be a little bit more competitive. But nonetheless, the Arizona and 49ers game, this was close. I barely won this bet. Arizona, the 49ers lost Jake Moody during this game, so they were unable to kick field goals. So they had a ridiculous 4th and 22 when they may have been up by a couple scores too. They may have been up by 9 points. A very interesting game. I feel like the 49ers in past years, especially the playoffs, are known for losing key players. They lost, I think, 2 quarterbacks in the same game in the playoffs a couple of years ago. It's against the Eagles, losing a kicker in this divisional game. And because they lost their kicker, they weren't able to kick field goals. They went for it on 4th and 22, and the Cardinals ended up icing the game with a 4th down. Kyler Murray had a nice throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. After he had a lot of pass rushers coming at him. Great win for the Cardinals. Great win for me, and we win that bet 0.5 units on the under 48.5. And I bet 0.5 units on the Raiders plus 3.5 for the Green Bay Packers and Rams game. I ended up sizing to 2 units on this. Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown score. I just felt like it was time for him to get his first touchdown of the season, first touchdown as a Green Bay Packer. And they ended up tossing him the ball after I think Jalen Reed made a crazy 40 or 50-yard catch. And next play, they gave it to Josh Jacobs, and he was able to get into the end zone. Didn't have much success later on in the game, but good to see that be the first touchdown of the game and relieve a little bit of stress from a little bit higher bet than I would normally do. Of course, it was favored. Josh Jacobs was favored to score, but good for Josh Jacobs to get that touchdown early on. And moving on to the New York Giants and Seattle Seahawks game, had the Seahawks -8.5 originally. That was my pre-game bet, and during the game, I placed that there was just too good of odds. The paying out 5-1 on the Seattle money line. They were down by, I think it was 7 points. Giants had the ball in the 4th quarter. I think I bet on Seattle to money line when it was 2nd down. I think Giants are just trying to get a first down or just not lose the ball. So they were running the ball, running the clock. Seattle ended up getting a 3-and-out. Giants punted the ball. Seattle went on a good run, got into field goal range. Yeah, they were down by 3. Sorry. Got into field goal range. Seattle was gonna kick a field goal to tie the game with under 2 minutes left, and the block field goal happened, and my 5-1 payout was ruined. So Could have been different had the coverage been a bit nicer on that play, but granted, I think this is a good bet, even though I didn't win 5-1 on that play. But for the 4 o'clock games, we end up going negative zero point 0.6 units. Yeah, during the Sunday games, this is what actually brought me back even. Thankfully, the Cowboys were not favored in this matchup against the Steelers. I thought this was a very obvious pick just from the quality of the Dallas team, and I bet the Cowboys money line to win it. And although it was a close game, it did come down to one of the last plays of the game, and there's a little scare with the Cowboys running back when the Steelers is either linebacker or safety or cornerback, but he came in as the Cowboys running back was going to jump over the offensive and defensive lines of both teams. This individual came in and knocked the ball loose, and Dak had to jump on top of it on third down, or bring it up third down. So it was just a very close game. Could have gone either way. Happy this bet paid out though, and this actually brought me back to even, if not a little up. And just showing that in the bottom left-hand corner, I just highlighted the Thursday games up to Sunday. We were, after the Cowboys game, we were up zero point 0.3 units. So it was nice to end the Sunday game break even, a little up after not having a very successful Thursday and 9 o'clock games, as well as kind of breaking even on actually going negative on the 4 o'clock games as well. So this bet was great for me and great for the bankroll, bringing it up to 0 0.3 and entering Monday night, the Saints at the Kansas City Chiefs. I did have high hopes for the Saints this game, and I ended up placing a money line bet on the Saints. Their play tactics, from what I saw in film, were great. I love the long, deep balls that the Saints were giving to their receivers, making them run and catch it. I think there's some issues with the Kansas City Chiefs not having Isaiah Pacheco. However, they did sign Kareem Hunt. Also, Rashee Rice having a knee injury, being out. However, the Kansas City Chiefs are utilizing their first-round draft pick, Xavier Worthy, more into their offensive scheme. And I guess I'm a little bit of a Chiefs hater, and I thought the Saints would be able to exploit those weaknesses and losses in their roster to bring this one home. So I placed my pre-match, going to my bets. I placed a pre-match bet on the Saints, plus 190 would pay out almost 2-1, and then after the interception by the defensive tackle in the red zone, the Saints defensive tackle, I thought this could be the spark for the Saints team. They were only down by maybe not, I think they were within one score of a game, or one score. So I thought that it would be a good time to place it, would pay more than 4-1, placed a half unit sized bet there for a big payout, kind of like the Seattle game. But both of these in-game bets did not turn out well, and I lose 2 units this game. And let's move on to the profitability, profit loss, win loss of the week. So as I was saying earlier, up until this point on Sunday, I was up 0.3 units, and I understood the risk of picking the Saints money line, and I did want to place a full 0.5 units plus on this bet. I was very confident in them. So I did end up going negative for the week. I went negative point, or excuse me, I went negative 1.7 on the week. I placed a total of 20 bets, lost 12 of them, won 8 for a bet win percentage of 40% and profit margin of negative 3.5%. Had the Saints won this Monday night game, it would have changed a lot of things. Would have came out with a solid 5.25 unit profit for the week, profit margin of 10%, and a win rate of 50%, just because I did scale up on some of these other bets, and the Saints money line is a not non-favorite bet, less likely outcome. So this bet would have paid out more. Nonetheless, negative 1.5 units for the week, and negative 1.7 units for the week, just off this Monday game. So not too disappointed. I knew the risk I was taking, and just need to look back on that game, look back on the Saints offense. Chiefs somehow find a way to win. I don't know if they're going to have the appetite to keep winning games. Looks like they are, though, even with a lot of their players being injured, and which is great for not only for the team and their record, but just as a unit. You're getting other guys involved, third string, fourth string guys that wouldn't normally play, and it's really showing the depth of the team. And I think this is even though injuries suck, and wish the utmost best on recoveries for Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, other guys on the Chiefs roster who are experiencing injuries. But I think this is really going to help this Chiefs team in the long run, with these younger guys, these less experienced guys, getting game time early on in the season. So props to the Chiefs for beating me and proving me wrong. And let's take a look at next week. Week 6 starts off 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks in Washington. 49. Everyone's saying the 49ers, this is a must-win game for them. I kind of agree, and I think Seattle, bit of a blunder against the Giants. This is a divisional matchup, and I'm feeling strongly about Seattle. I haven't looked at the odds yet on this game, but 49ers are definitely banged up. I think Seattle's got a great team, great head coach, and I think this will be a great matchup. I think the over under on this game is over under 49.5. So the sports books predicting a lot of points this game. Arizona and Green Bay battle, as well as Indy and the Tennessee Titans, a divisional game. Houston Texans take on Drake May and the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Very excited for that game. Excited to see what Drake May is going to, how he's going to be in his first regular season NFL start. Tampa Bay taking on the Saints. Talked about that earlier in New Orleans. The Browns are taking on the Eagles after the Eagles have a bye week, or had a bye week. Week 5 was their bye week. Looking, Eagles may be very well rested or a little slow out of the gate. So curious to see how that one plays out. The last 1 o'clock game is the Commanders taking on the Ravens. Two dynamic running-esque quarterbacks. That should be a really good game. 4 o'clock games, Chargers at the Broncos, a divisional matchup there. Pittsburgh and the Raiders, Detroit and Dallas. That'll be an interesting game. And the last 4 o'clock game being the Falcons and the Panthers, and that is a divisional game as well. The Bengals take on the Giants Sunday night, and the Bills play the Jets in a divisional matchup on Monday Night Football. So, a lot of good matchups. Preparing for the 49ers and Seahawks game probably tomorrow. Going to be looking over. I didn't watch the entire Seattle Giants game, but going to watch that film, watch that back, kind of see where Seattle went wrong in their game plan and maybe where the Giants went right, uh, whatever that is. And probably going to watch over the 49ers and Cardinals game again, too, and just see how good or bad the 49ers are with their current roster. But yeah, so those are the week 6 games, and yeah, going to be prepping for Thursday come tomorrow. But this brings me to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, please drop a like on the video. Subscribe for more. I'll be doing a breakdown video every single week 1 through 18 of the NFL. Just tracking my progress, tracking my bets. And if you haven't already, follow me on X at Wreckord. I post my bets before the Sunday 1 o'clock games, and I'll post my bets as well for this Thursday game after I watch this film and do some research. Check that out. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your day wherever you're at.